Welcome back, guys, to Trending T.I.Studios. Don't ask me what that was about, guys. Just a little excited. Last night I got to see Free State of Jones, and why I'm excited because now I'm going to come talk to you guys about it. And this is my favorite one. This is the spoiler review, so I don't have to hold back. I don't have to stop myself in mid-sentence and go, "Wait, am I supposed to be saying that?" I can just say it. I don't have to go, "Hold on, guys, spoilers are coming," because it's named and titled. This is the spoiler review. So this is about a guy named Newton Knight, who basically became disenchanted with the whole war between the North and the South. When he became a traitor to the South, it wasn't the fact he was joining the North. It was that he didn't believe in people killing God's children over land, which I think is, for religious people, that sounds awesome. And I'm not religious, and I at least like the point of it. Even though I don't agree with the God's children part of the sentence, and that's just my opinion, guys. It's just mine. I respect everybody's belief, 100%. But I like that thought process because I don't think there is any amount of money or any land worth one person's life. That's just me. So, anyhow, this movie centers around that, and it starts off with a friend of his gets shot, and he is a medic at the Civil War and for the South. So he brings his friend back, and his friend's hurt, and they won't see him because he knows that they won't see him for a long time, and if they wait that long, his friend will die. Excuse me. So he decides, I will put like an officer coat on you. That way they'll see you. So then the camera pans into the makeshift MASH hospital, and yes, the original MASH. And guys, here we go. MASH before this was MASH. So, anyhow, and you see all these people, hurt in various stages. And he comes in going, got a captain hurt, and he's got his friend over his shoulder. Immediately, they stop tending to everybody. They come help his friend out. Saves his friend's life. So fast forward just a little bit, and he's sitting by a campfire, and he's talking with the people in his platoon, it's a small band of them, and they're talking about how if you have 10 slaves, you get to go home. If you have 20 slaves, you and your eldest get to go home. If you have 40 slaves, you and your two eldest go home, and that's for every 20. So if you have 60, you have 3, you have 4, and they're all making a little light of it, and you can tell, is really annoyed with that thought. And it shows him out in the trees, and a young boy runs into him, and it's obviously somebody he knows really well. And he's basically been told he's got to go fight for the South, and he's scared, he's terrified. He's probably nothing but 11 or 12 years old. He's just terrified. So he's like, can I go with you? And he's like, yeah. He's like, well, I got to be here tomorrow. Will you go with me? And Newton Knight had plans, but he realizes his son needed him. This is his son. So he says, yeah, I'll just go with me. We'll take care of it. You'll be fine. And they're hugging tightly. Then it gets to the war part. The two sides are fighting. He's in the bunkers with his son. They get past the first. They're trying to push out. He's gonna bail out on the South with his brother. Come back, but he wanted to get his brother to safety. Well, his brother, when they get to the next set of bunkers and they're away from everybody, they're getting ready to go, when a group of 3 or 4 people from the South jump in the bunker with them, and they're like, hey, you're with us now. They had to lie and say that they were with a certain platoon, so they weren't called anti-deserters. So these guys are like, hey, we're going to charge at this moment. You guys come with us. And when the guy said go, the kid kind of delayed and stood up really slow, and he was shot and killed. Newton Knight's son was killed. And that's the moment he chose to desert the South at that moment, to take his son back to his mother, to his wife, Serena Knight. And that was a very like emotional moment. So I'm not going to go through every stage, every little bit of the movie like I just did, but that just gets you warmed up, guys. So now his son's died. He's back. He's made the decision. He's not going back. He is disenfranchised with the whole thought. Right before he deserted, his platoon mates understood what he was doing. The first guy tried to talk him up, but not very hard. He was just like, hey, you don't have to do this. The second guy was the guy who saved his life. Said, he gave him some food and then said, your son didn't die. Or you said your son died with honor. And Newton Knight said a line right there that I loved. I agreed with. He looked at him and said, no, he just died. And here's the thing. His son was terrified, guys. I mean, he was like, he was crying, he was shaking. He didn't belong. He was 12 years old. He was 11 or 12 years old. He didn't belong there. And that was the point of saying, no, he didn't die with honor. He just died. And so, they come chasing after him. He has his own people in town that help him escape, which means kind of leaving his wife as well and his young baby. He had a young baby as well. And he gets hooked up with some black people in the swamps. And they just come together. Things fast forward more. More people, as the South is losing, more people are deserting and they're joining him. So now it's a bunch of white people and black people. But of course, the white people there, they're still racist. Even though they're deserting the South, they still have racist thoughts. And I still remember one, the scene where they just got done basically pulling a Robin Hood and taking all their stuff back that the South government was taking from them, from their families, literally as a tax. So they just stole it back. And so they're having this big old party, and the whites have already ate all the food, danced, and ate pig and corn, and they just ate like champs. Well, they're done now. One of the main character black guys, his name is Moses. He comes up and he starts just the leftover bits of the pig. I mean, like parts of the pig that people wouldn't eat probably. And he starts putting it into a little paper sack. And one of the friends of Newton Knight says, N-word, put that down. N-word, put that down. N-word, does that look like that's N-word food? And Newton Knight, who was passed out drunk, suddenly stands up, walks over to the pit, gets all that food, hands it over to Moses, and says, "Are you an N-word?" "No, sir." He looks at the black man, Moses, says, "Are you an N-word?" He says, "No, sir." He said, "Well, then there ain't no N-words here." Great moment in the movie, guys. Loved it. Loved it. Tremendous. So, anyhow, there are lynchings in this movie. You have the KKK in this movie. You have beatdowns. You have young kids being hanged for... This is a spoiler part, so I'll say what happened with the young boys being hanged. They were part of Newton's Knight's group. And their mom's house had just been burned because they were part of Newton Knight's group. And they found out about it. So one of the elder gentlemen said, boys, he snuck the boys out away from Newton Knight's group a little bit, just a little bit in the forest, or the swamp, and said, boys, there ain't no reason for you guys to die over this. You're too young. Your mom needs you. I'll go with you back home. I'll take you back home. We'll just surrender. Because there was a piece of paper that said if you turn yourselves in, there'd be nothing done to you. So I believe he's a general. Pretty sure he was a colonel or a general. He has a lieutenant next to him as they're looking at the binoculars as they're seeing the three boys and the guy come out of the swamp. And they're like, because they thought it'd be Newton Knight and everybody. Turns out the entire group said no, besides those four. So he turns around and he sees the lieutenant, and he says, "That's just three young boys and an old man." And the lieutenant says, "Well, what should we do?" They looked at him and said, "Well, that's a waste of time. Just hang him." And that's what they did. The three young boys, probably the youngest was probably 8, the other's probably 10, the other was probably 12. It's might not be, it's not exact, but that's roughly of the three ages of the three kids that were hung, and just sad. That's what times are like. People act like violence of today. Like we don't know where it comes from. Guys, we've been a violent country for a very long time, and it just is what it is. That part hasn't changed. It's nothing new. It's just the truth. And then they touched on the blacks voting and interracial marriage. Moses was hung and devoured. That was a pretty tough scene. I just got a little bit emotional there. That was a pretty tough scene because of everything that was going on in the movie. Up to that point, he had gotten so far. At one point, they had taken his son. After slaves were all free now, the Emancipation Proclamation, and the South, they were pretty much ignoring it and making up their own little rules here and there. And this rich family that had him before, they came and took him back when he was living on Jones County had now been established. And took him when the dad was out working on the field, not as a slave, but his own land. So Moses, he's going to go look for his son. And he's got a gun, and he's on a mission. And his wife comes running. Newton! 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 They took my boy, and Moses went after him with a gun. He's going to get himself killed. So Newton Knight gets horses and a chariot, not chariot, but stagecoach, and starts going after her. Basically a wagon, and he's going after Moses. So he gets to Moses, and Moses is still he sees him, but he don't care. He wants his son, as all fathers would. And Newton's like, Moses, they'll kill you. They'll just arrest me. Moses is like, I don't care. I want my boy. And Newton's like, well, get your boy. But come with me. They'll kill you. They'll only arrest me. And after about 3 times of that, he accepted it. So then Newton Knight went and literally onto the plantation field where all these slaves were back on the field, found Moses' son, grabbed him, and right when they were going to get into the wagon, they were arrested. And they're in the courtroom, and guess who's in charge of the courtroom? That same lieutenant from earlier, the jerk face of the movie. And Newton Knight gets what's going on, and that money decides everything. So once he sees that he's got a losing battle, there's no way he's going to win, he turns around to the guy that owns Moses' son, says, "Here's $70. Will that do it?" And he buys Moses' son. And now things are going really good. And suddenly blacks can vote. And Moses is believing in the system. He's going around and he's going to every plantation field and he's talking to slaves. He's going to blacks that have their own land. He's going to whites that have their own land. And he's telling them to vote for him, vote for him, vote for him. And then you see he's heading home. He's done his work for the day. And he's on the last stretch of the go on the gravel road till he gets home. And you hear, "Stop, N-word. N-word, you hear me, boy? N-word, you hear me, boy? Stop. Stop." And then you see his wife is looking for him. She can't find him. And she goes and tells Newton. And Newton looks for him for a while, and he goes to a tree. And there's Moses. No pants on. Well, they're there. They're just around his ankles. He's been disfigured down below. And he's been hung. And you see he's got his suit on. And why that gets me is because you see a guy that was finally buying into the fact that he had an opportunity. That he was finally, that blacks were finally going to get a real share, a real chance, a real opportunity. That maybe things were going to get better. And they did. I mean, they're still not great, but I mean, sometimes it has gotten better. But unfortunately for him, he didn't get to see any of it. He just got murdered, lynched. And the people that killed him, no penalty at all. So, like I said, guys, this movie is very real. It's very good. There's more to this movie than what I've heard. I don't want to give away, spoil everything, but I think I've spoiled enough to make you guys want to see it, and that was the point. So I hope you guys enjoyed this spoiler review. I definitely enjoyed doing it. Look forward to you guys next time. My next video that I'm going to do, guys, is much happier. It's Finding Dory. Just keep swimming. Just keep swimming. Swimming, swimming. That's what we do. We swim. See, we already got happier. All right, guys. We'll see you next time right here on Trending Interactive Studios. Remember to like, subscribe, and comment down below. I'm your host, Ben. Till next time, take it easy, guys.